Even those of us who are screaming, "Entitlement, entitlement," are still falling victim. You shine. Let us see you. We need you in this world. We must rise up, both oppressor and oppressed, understanding that we are both in the same boat.
Labor and the expression of worth.
As an artist, as a as a philosopher, as a poet, and as a member of the human species, I can see now how this task that we have in front of us is impossible, truly. Impossible from this state of consciousness that we now, as a general rule, as a general state of being, kind of exist in. We are nearly completely immersed in a falseness. Our consumer culture solidifies this in us over and over again. We have become unconscious materialists and oftentimes incapable of understanding how to use the metaphors as a result of this. We have rebelled, rightly so, against some kind of fundamentalist evangelical Christianity and nationalism. We have begun to change our pronouns and change our words and intentionally alter our gender in many instances. And I have experienced this too. And part of my story, part of my truth telling is that I gave away a part of myself because I thought it was just and right to protect humanity from the man that was in me. Because in my education at that time, the patriarchy and maleness were the same. And I got this great education in academia, getting to live side by side and work side by side with my ex-wife in that realm, and meeting these brilliant students and teachers. And I was a student of feminism. I considered myself a feminist. And there is a right logic to all of that. As we begin understanding oppression, and we begin chasing down all those paths of oppression on the outside of us, historically speaking, and then on the inside of us, right? The micro victimization and the macro victimization. How have we been victimized? And many of us tend to cling to that victimization, and all of us, in some sense. I've come to understand how unconscious this victimization thing is. Even those of us who are screaming, entitlement, entitlement, are still falling victim. So many times the ones who proclaim the least victimhood are the ones who are actually broadcasting some really, really deep victimization. So all of these things we come to understand as kind of what appears as some kind of human condition, or some call it the human problem, or this is what we acknowledge in ourselves as that viral aspect of our being, that thing in us which seems to be a disease, which is spreading virulently and violently across the face of this planet. So this is, what one tradition would call being born into sin. We were born into this, and somehow, though, we must see that we are all in this somehow together. That sounds cliche, right? But it's still true that somehow all of us came to this decision that we have consented somehow, because this is the only way that we don't become victims even to our ancestry, right? We cannot any longer give energy. We must rise up, both oppressor and oppressed, understanding that we are both in the same boat, that those who seem to oppress on the outside are just as much victimized by that violence as the oppressed. Yes? Viktor Frankl, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he notes how the prison guards may actually be more imprisoned than the people in the Auschwitz prison. We hold ourselves prisoner, and it is time to be liberated. It's very simple, and this is going to take what looks like a great discipline and a great training of the mind and great decisions that seem impossible to make. But as long as I am here, I will speak of these things because these are the things that need to be said. I'm so thankful for your presence in this world. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your practice, for your devotion, for your discipline, for your teaching. You shine, you shine. Let us see you. We need you in this world.